Hi, everybody. I'm Sawd.
I'm Punk.
And I'm definitely not
a
a
fisherman.
Popufur. A fisherman? No, I don't think you have been a fisherman, as far as I can tell.
Actually, no, I haven't.
You
Not
have.
yet.
One day we're gonna get it right. One day we will coordinate.
One day.
But most importantly, maybe not, maybe never. Who knows? Just to let you all know, this is the podcast where every single episode we invite someone to walk us through their journey into the furry fandom. We do it because I come from such a new starting point. Punk has been at it for almost a decade and a half now, if not longer. And most critically, the guest we have on today is someone who I admire and look up to so great. They, I think, would describe themselves as a variety VTuber and content creator. They've been at this for years. They are an absolute delight, and most critically, they are the first streamer who has ever shown me their pussy. So if everyone can please welcome overall, Nyavarr, thank you so much for being here. How are you, friend? How are you?
I am doing incredibly well. What an intro. By years, you mean like 3 or 4, right?
Yes. And for the record, I knew I wanted to introduce that like since the second that you agreed to do the pod. I'm like, I have to do that. I have to do the pussy intro. We should probably briefly delve into what the streamer pussy is, because
yeah,
I'm so sorry, Punk, to do that to you.
I'm happy to. I didn't want this to become a streamer pussy ad, and it can't be yet. But whatever. We're here.
We're doing it.
So streamer pussy, for those who don't know, Punk is a multi-streaming tool that I have been working on in development for a while now. And the core thing, and what Sawd has seen is the ability to merge chats from multiple sources, i.e. TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. And I've been working on that for a few years because I started multi-streaming sometime last year. Actually, I think when I started streaming on TikTok, which was sometime last year, February 2024, I started multi-streaming.
It's really cool. And I think this is going to be something that potentially could be a product that is pushed out, which is, I think, one of the more fascinating things about, I can go into my whole thing. I was thinking about this last night about how I feel like the fandom is a multifaceted thing in which there is an umbrella in which multiple genres and skills and crafts can exist. But we will get to the streaming part in just a moment, because Mr. Nyavarr, you are, and for the record, before we jump into this, I do have a question from a fan. I won't tell you who it is, but this is a fan who wants to know why you decided to pick.
I was about to say, is it you, Sawd?
No, there was someone who wanted to be specifically to ask why you picked a deer as your avatar. The joke in being, of course, that Nyavarr is not a deer. He is, I believe, a fennec fox.
I am a fennec fox, yeah. I have been a fennec fox for nigh on a decade, I'm sure.
Nigh on, even. Okay. Well, before we get into that, and actually I would say probably before we get into the actual specifics of it, I think this is the one time where I've been in your streams for a while. You've been one of my favorite people to visit overall in the streaming world and universe. But, I mean, truly. And overall, I truly don't believe I ever got the origin story of how you entered the fandom, if there is a specific one to tell at all.
So there's a little bit of not one to tell and a little bit of one to tell.
Okay.
So like a lot of people have like some origin story where they somehow connect into the fandom and find their way into it. I'm still stumbling my way into the fandom personally.
That's the way to do it, certainly. Yeah.
I connected with being a furry sometime in my teenage years. I was just like, yep, that describes me pretty well. And I was on a lot of sites that maybe we shouldn't mention on a podcast, but especially not for a 14-year-old. But I connected with that. I resonated with that. I'm like, yeah, that describes me. Sure. And I didn't take any negativity away from it. And I never have. But that's not really being part of the community, right? That's just being like, that's identifying. So being part of the community is something that I've been stumbling through for the last maybe decade. Certainly in my high school years, I didn't do really anything furry-like. I didn't connect with other furries in any real fashion other than the internet, like IRC chat rooms, because I'm apparently that old now.
I think we all are in this chat, so as I've learned over time. Yeah.
And like I wore a tail in high school a couple times, which is it's like the combination of goth, emo, and furry. No one can really tell what's going on.
I mean, it's the thing where it's like it is alternative subculture in some form, certainly, yeah.
Indeed, yeah. But as for like, let's say going out and hanging out with other furries, I've done, conventions aside, I've only ever been to 2 in real life furry meetups. One in college with with someone who was my girlfriend at that time and period, and she was a furry. And we went to we didn't go to Fur Bowl because they weren't doing Fur Bowl, but it was like pizza and fursuits. It was great.
Yeah.
And then one like this year or last year where I went to a board gaming meetup with the local furries. And then I've been to MFF 2025 and Fur City, or MFF 2024. 2025 hasn't happened yet. And Fur City 2025. And that's like it. That's me in the fandom. So really my entry into the furry fandom, like the furry community, wasn't really until I started doing VR chat streaming and got a furry avatar. And that would have been February 2024, really. So like I've been a furry my whole life, but I'm only just now really stumbling through the fandom.
I am fascinated by that. So just the kind of thing where, having been into your streams a couple times and just kind of with the people that you and I collectively have congregated with, it just seems that I mean, again, you've been a part of the fandom for so long, but it just seems that you've come from a place of such experience. But also, as I've learned so much over time, everyone's journey is completely different. And I think that there's a lot of pressure if someone says like, ooh, I identify as a furry, or this is a part of me. There's a lot of people like, okay, well, what's your OC? What's your Sona? Or, you know, like, I feel like there's kind of this indiscriminate or sometimes explicitly stated pressure to define that. But everyone's journey is different. And I think there are some people who I've known who have been in this fandom who've been there for 10, 15, even 20 years who never have, and at this point, quite frankly, never will. And I have kind of had to learn, especially as someone new coming into this, that that is acceptable. And again, there are no 2 specific ways to do it. So I guess to that end, you were perfectly content not having a Sona or OC when pressed or asked at any point prior to VR.
I mean, I had one. Like I said, I've been a fennec fox for near on a decade, right? I had
yes.
I had an OC, well, a fursona. My fursona was just me as a fennec fox, and it always has been. It only evolved last year. Although I guess that's not entirely true, because if you go back far enough, if you go back to 14, when I was on the websites I shouldn't be, I might not have had a fursona, but I had a pokesona.
Yes. Huh. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Which, looking back, is the exact same thing, but
basically
it is so slightly different.
I do have to ask the question then. What was the Pokesona?
I would love to hear your guess.
I am not as well versed in that I could, I think, effectively make a guess. Punk, would you like to wager a guess?
Okay, are we doing like the first 150 Pokemon? Or are we going into second gen? Like what generation?
What generation would it have been when I had a Pokesona? We would have been up to at least Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. Words are in the Bible. And it will be the most obvious answer once you get to it.
Because I only know, like, I know the first gen very well. Second gen, I kind of know. So, I don't know. Eevee.
It is an Eevee. Yeah, it was an
Eevee. Oh, yeah, let's go.
Okay, so walk us through it. What was it?
It was just a silver Eevee, a shiny Eevee.
Okay.
And when I graduated to a fursona, I was like, well, an Eevee is basically a fennec fox, so I guess I'm a fennec fox.
That's awesome. That is incredible. The name Nyavarr was consistent all the way straight through.
Oh, no. My way back when, I was known as EV04, and that's a crazy story that's wildly inappropriate. But
done. In the vault it goes.
As a furry, I didn't have a name for my Sona. It was just my name. It was always just my name. Nyavarr only came into existence like last year, maybe December 2023.
Okay.
I had just looked this up for you, and I already forgot the answer because I was like, let me go to my
You did
and
the
we're live
self-research? I
message
appreciate
board
you so much.
and
Right.
see when my Twitch URLs changed. And that's how I found out, like, when I had made that swap over.
Incredible. Incredible, though. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess then that end, I guess think there's probably probably a sideways or at least a waylay in between there real quick. But I guess for having been in the fandom and for having the Sona for so long, what is the thing that ultimately flipped the switch that made you decide, like, you know what, I actually want to try out streaming?
So streaming, I always wanted to do like some sort of video game content.
Hmm.
My computer had never been powerful enough to. And even in like high school and stuff, I tried a couple Let's Plays with Minecraft
Hmm.
as like the key game. Not that wouldn't have been high school, that would have been college. I'm not that
Hmm.
old or young. I'm not that young.
Yeah, I'm not that young old. Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my computer wasn't powerful enough. And then I got into VTubing when one of my Tumblr mutuals started doing it.
Oh my God, Tumblr.
Incredible.
She is now my Kamiyoshi. She's Alethi Nana. I've mentioned her several times on stream. I'd be surprised
Hmm.
if it was a name you haven't heard. But she's a VTuber, and I got into watching VTubers when she did it. And from there, I eventually found Queen Rowlet, which is a name you'll be totally unfamiliar with because she's changed her name twice since then.
I see.
And I became a mod in her Twitch, which is now Clover VT,
Hmm.
which should be a much more familiar name.
Yes.
And one of the things as a mod, I was like, she's having these technical issues and she's having these streaming issues, and I can't help because I don't know what's happening. So I'm going to start streaming so I know what's happening so I can help.
Hmm. It all starts so innocuous. It all starts so inconspicuously. Uh, and so then the first one, it was just, that's the moment when you're like, okay, if I'm going to be on camera, then at that point, I'm going to have at least some sort of avatar representation of at least the Sona.
Well,
So many wonderful detours on this road we're on. I love it.
it's wild. When I first started doing the streams, I used an old PNG that had been an art request of mine of DeviantArt that represented who I was as a character on a website called Route50.net, which was a sort of Pokemon social network that for a period of time I helped develop and run.
Nice.
And I quickly moved on from that to being like, this isn't interactive enough, right? It's not fluid enough. It doesn't have enough emotion or motion. And I moved to a free V2, a live 2D avatar, which was, and you might see some of these videos if you haven't yet, Sod, but I was this like blonde haired cat girl maid. I wore a maid outfit. I
Yes.
had
Yes,
cat
I have seen
ears.
these.
I
Yeah.
I was not strictly a girl. I was a guy, and I made jokes to that, such as with the
Effect.
Felix audio from ReZero, which is like,
Hmm.
no, actually, I'm a guy. No, you're not. No, really, I'm a no. You're not.
Incredible. Okay. I
It,
had seen those videos before, and I just like I truly wasn't sure. I'm like, is this like a part-time thing? I just had no immediate context for it, so this is actually extremely helpful for me. Uh, and that didn't have a name, or that did.
I was going by just my regular name at that point in time. I was
Okay.
just Nyavarr. It wasn't
Okay.
until I started experimenting with TikTok and VR chat in 2024 that I got an avatar that even somewhat resembles the one that I use now.
Okay. So the wild and lovely and incredible journey, and I do love that streaming has been so much a part of it. And I guess the only other thing too, I think the logical endpoint to it though is that so if you went ahead and you were trying this out as a way essentially to help fellow streamers to kind of get to know the nuts and bolts of everything that was going on, at what point did something click of like, oh, I am enjoying this just for me? I guess that's the question. Was there an audience that kind of came in, or did it naturally grow? I guess that's kind of where the next step would be.
I got a lot of my initial audience from Clover's community. Um,
Hmm.
and from there, I'd always loved the idea of streaming anyway.
Hmm.
So it just sort of picked up at some point. There were video games I wanted to play, and I wanted to stream, and I was like, I'll just since I want to stream to sort of learn what's going on, and I want to play these video games, I'm going to stream these video games, and I'm going to get through them. And so, like, one of my earliest streams was Okami, because I'd played it a little bit in high school on the Wii. I'd never finished the game, and I really wanted to. And so I completed that entire game on stream. And with the first couple streams, they were only like an hour long max.
Yeah. And just to be clear, this is the game where you're playing the wolf and you have to use the paint strokes to try and fight, or at least cast spells or whatnot to try and win, correct?
That's the one, yeah. Clearly a furry.
Okay. It's one of those pieces of furry media that's just embedded in video game all the way straight through. Yes. Okay, cool. Well, this is lovely. And it's the kind of thing where coming at it from that angle, I think, is so fascinating. I know, Punk, obviously you've been streaming for some time as well, and we've kind of talked about it in some previous episodes of kind of where it started and how you got into it, because he was there in some of those early VR chat days when it was the early hangouts, when it was I think just a kind of a different experience altogether. But one thing I did want to touch on, if that's okay, is that being a part of the furry fandom, I feel when you described it as this is kind of alternative, this is goth, this was kind of furry, there was kind of this mixture of things that were kind of amalgam together in some way or another. I think that the experience with fandoms has been interesting because of the way that they cross and mingle and interact. Correct me if I'm wrong about this. Were you at any point a part of the My Little Pony fandom?
Oh yes, I was. I don't remember how, but I got into that, like, the Faust generation pretty early on when it started streaming.
And I am so sorry, the Faust generation?
I think that's the right name. It's been a long time. I'm thinking of the one that most people associate with bronies at this point.
The Friendship of Magic.
Yeah, Friendship is Magic.
Yeah. Yes,
I'm trying to think of the showrunner, and I honestly can't remember her name.
Oh my god, yes.
Why can't I think of a name?
I have Google literally right in front of me. I don't know why I can do it. Live Googling action is happening here on your ears. I'm so sorry.
Lauren Faust.
I was
Lauren
right.
Faust, yeah.
Lauren Faust,
oh my
yes,
god.
Exactly. God damn it.
My friend would smack me if he knew that I forgot that name.
I said the Faust generation, and
yeah, I forgot her first name though.
All we did was fact check and confirm. Yes.
Yes.
And so they ran the first 2 seasons, then I guess it changed hands after that before it ran for 7 additional seasons.
Oh, I have no idea. I wasn't that big into it. Like, I wasn't nerding out about it. I was just enjoying it.
Right. And Punk, I'm not mistaken, you had a roommate, if I'm not mistaken at the time, who was heavily brony coded, if not full brony, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. He kind of got me into it.
Okay.
I mean, he was a lot more into it because he had like the figures and he had like stickers. He even has a he bought a old Fiero that he was going to customize into like a Rainbow Dash type of car. And I mean, that's still sitting out. It's still sitting out in my yard right now. He hasn't done much, but it's a very nice car. It's a very good thing. But yeah, he was big into it. And then we go to these
BronyCons?
Yeah. No, not even BronyCon. I mean, he went to BronyCon, but every year we go up to the mountains and there's this big, it's like a half brony, half car nut like meetup. So there's a bunch of like car nuts who have like really cool freaking vintage cars and stuff, and they're all bronies. And we just spend like a weekend up there, or less than a weekend, and we just drive around and then, party at night. And everyone's got like their own type of like custom thing, like stickers, and it's called Petrol Pegasus is their group's name.
I knew cars were a big thing in the furry fandom, but I didn't think there was like a brony also car meet, like little niche.
Yeah, dude, it's insane. Like, I didn't think of that either. And then I went one year because he's like, oh, you should come. There's like some furries around there too. And I mean, it was more brony than furry, but yeah, they have these big inflatable like ponies of like Rainbow Dash or like custom OCs. Actually, like they actually have a mascot for the Petrol Pegasus and stuff. It's so wild, but it's cool at the same time because it's just like people get this weird idea about bronies, and then you go there, you got people driving like 1960 Ferraris and just being cool as hell.
And I've always thought that bronies are just furries in disguise. Like half of them
True.
won't admit it, but they are just furries.
True.
I feel like it's like that's kind of like a gateway drug almost to a degree. Like if you have one, like it has to a degree at least tie into the other a little bit. I
I
remember.
thought anime was a gateway drug.
Oh God, yeah. Show me a furry that doesn't love
is,
anime.
but
It doesn't
how?
exist.
Oh, with anime
That
or
is,
with brony?
yeah. Well, with anime
Oh,
specifically, I think that's a better logical follow
I
through.
mean, you got like the cat girls and cat boys and stuff in there, and like
You
with the
do have the
paws and
cat
the
girls.
You
yeah,
you do have the cat girls.
going to
Uh,
ewu constantly. Oh God,
and now I do that, so I've therefore ruined it.
there you go.
But it's the thing where it's like I do feel like weirdly enough with the furry fandom, there's just a lot of people who just love anime straight up, and it's not even necessarily animes that have adorable animal hybrid characters on here. Like this is where I'm going to find people that love Mob Psycho 100 or people that love that Dining in the Dungeon or even of course a lot of people who love Attack on Titan. Like it's interesting how there is a correlation, but I also feel like there's either some way of like fantasy realms or a certain degree of like realistic or brutal escapism that is tied into it. I'm sure there is probably some sort of WordPress piece out there that goes into this a lot further than I could imagine, but the correlation is fascinating to me, truly, truly.
Mm.
That was the thing too, where it's like, and I think I talked about you at this on a live too, during one of your wonderful coworker streams that you've had before, where uh I just felt like and this is just fully my vision, having grown up in Salt Lake City, Utah, and then moving to Chicago for 12 years of my life. Like I've had a mixture of just kind of growing up and just being culturally unaware of things. So I felt like I came into things late, but I do remember like I felt like at the peak bronyism, I felt like there were documentaries. I felt like there were people that were talking about how this is a quote unquote cringe subculture or the kind of outside looking in kind of thing. And I just felt like whatever awareness I had of furries was so it wasn't as prominent as I felt like I heard about bronies first. Like they almost like were I can't even really describe it. I just felt like there was a lot more cultural awareness, or maybe it was just the popularity of the show that had broken through in such a way that what had permeated before I really knew about furry subculture, which has definitely changed very much over time. I don't have a
Yeah.
specific point to make on that, but I just kind of wanted to highlight that. Yeah.
I would have to imagine it was the popularity of the show coupled with the fact that guys especially were being demonized for quote unquote stealing what was a children's show, essentially.
Yes. Yes.
And it played big in the media. But I know the furry communities existed since at least into the 60s, probably further back. And it was probably newsworthy then and wasn't really as newsworthy during the My Little Pony era.
100%. I think it was in our first or second episode that we recorded. Punk had looked up the first furry that had ever been recorded on record. It was someone who I was just like 1920 something like that. Do you remember that, Punk?
Something like that. Yeah, it was like the first animal pantomime performer or something.
Who was
And
not
he had
associated
like
with like Disney or any other like
yeah,
theme park
yeah.
necessarily. Yeah.
It was just for like old films and everything. I forgot his name again. Where people just have to go back and watch it. It was the I think it was the
Check out our
Kazan
archives.
episode. Yeah.
Yes.
But
But
yeah,
like
it
it's
was
just
interesting.
yeah. So with that said, obviously I feel like a lot of things have changed over time because especially I think the definition of what a furry is has changed too. I always feel like this, as we just are kind of mentioning at the top, especially with you as a programmer, as someone who's developing products, this fandom is so unique in the sense that I feel like if it's anime or My Little Pony, like there's obviously a certain thing that you're focusing on. I enjoy this show. I enjoy this manga. Like I feel like the fandom will then kind of spawn out of this.
Mhm.
With furry fandom, it's kind of like I enjoy this very broad and yet very specific uh, genre of things too. And so therefore, because it is so loosely defined, like if someone says they're a furry, I think there's obviously going to be immediate connotations that are tied with it. But this is the kind of thing where there are going to be people who enjoy shows. There's going to be people who make music. There's going to be people who will make their own documentaries about this kind of thing. It just feels like it's so much more of a big tent kind of situation, and I think that's kind of inherently the appeal of it too. And low key, it's the kind of thing where you, as someone who has been streaming for as long as you have, I feel like you've kind of developed a certain voice and are always still continually pushing and experimenting as to what for like basically I don't want to say furry content because I'm not sure if that is explicitly what you would define as what you do, but it just feels like you as a streaming personality have evolved a lot in a short amount of time, if to put it simply.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's been huge changes over a small swath of time, and at some point it became furry content, right? And it wasn't initially strictly furry content,
Mm-hmm.
but
It's purely gaming content. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like at least identifying as furry, the broadness and stuff, it has the same sort of feel as like identifying as queer. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're not saying anything specific about what you like, what you don't like, but you're saying that like I'm not part of the norm. I'm in this outside community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very much just a self-label at this point.
Mm-hmm. It's very fascinating because I feel like and you may have had this at both of your streams too, people that are always just like, I don't know how to tell my parents that I'm a furry. It really feels very similar to coming out because there is just this sense of otherness that is associated with it that makes it difficult to just admit. Or, yeah, I'm not sure if it's just that or if it's just some sort of perceived cultural bias against it, but it's just fascinating how it does kind of feel like coming out to a second degree. And it's just I've always been trying to figure out where the root of it is, but then again, that's the kind of thing where I had a hard time admitting to myself that I was a furry for the longest time. So who am I to say?
I you know, I think it comes from media demonization. I don't think it's
Mm-hmm.
as common as it once was, but I know like same way that Dungeons and Dragons used to be demonized, right? Furries used to
Oh
be
my God,
demonized in the
yes.
media.
Yeah.
So like there's still a lot of feelings about what people think furries are when they're not part of the community. And I hate to liken it to queerness again, but I think there are still groups like hardcore Christians who have certain thoughts of what someone who identifies as queer is like. And it's sort of the
Mm-hmm.
same thing there. So I think coming out is a very apt comparison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just out of your curiosity, since you've been in it for so long, what would you, and this is such a broad question, so my sincere apologies out the gate for this, but what would you say are probably some of the most significant changes that you've seen in the fandom in your time, from your perspective? Have you seen like broader acceptance? Have you seen kind of like a larger tent view of it in the community? I'm just kind of curious, what do you feel has been, having been at it all the way since you were in the teenage years to where it is now, what have you seen as a perceptible change?
I feel like I can't be objective about this, which I would love to be. Everything's going to be
Yes.
subjective. But
Fully understood.
I feel like there has been more acceptance, but it's hard to say if that's like fact because I've just gotten deeper and deeper into the community at this point.
My God, Sam.
And so how do I know if the world at large is more accepting or am I just surrounding myself with people who are?
Hmm. That's that's the tricky question. And it is the kind of thing where it's like I've been lightly like, especially like to friends or people like that, I've just been kind of lightly like kind of like teasing it out slowly, and the reception has been very positive. It's I haven't had anyone that's just like, well, that's cringe and gross or whatever, because also what are they going to do? Challenge me? F off. Like it's not a problem. But like it
Yeah.
is just interesting that it's been analogous to that too, where it's just like I'm still kind of like putting out feelers, seeing if it's cool to say things, and it's like for the most part, people are like, okay, cool. They're accepting of it. Some say it's cool even. I don't believe them, but they say it. And I appreciate that. Uh,
I feel
yes,
that I
fuck.
feel that deep in my core because I'm still like I'm hesitant or scared to mention it in working environments
Hmm.
because I'm worried it'll still be seen as something like perverse.
Yeah, fully. I had it's the kind of thing where like I've mentioned it twice to the one coworker I've closest with. I've said the word furry in two different conversations, admittedly about a month apart, but I'm almost confident they put the pieces together. I'm not going to go as far to confirm it as of right now. However, I will say that I do work at a very large international company, and just one day, for whatever stupid effing reason, I was like, what's going to happen? And just in our general overall work chat, I typed in the word furry, and a group popped up called Furry Fandom. And I'm like, oh no. And I clicked on it. I clicked on it, and it is a robot. It is a posting robot that every single day will post 2 to 3 pieces of random furry art, and it's just there. And I'm like, okay. And I
Random
joined
furry
it.
art. That sounds dangerous. Where's that
Oh,
sourced from?
Right? That's
oh,
kind of scary.
yeah, exactly. So like sometimes it's just like, super cute like chibi stuff. Sometimes it's more like dramatic things. There was one time and it was something like it was like a wolf and like a lamb or something like that, and they're just like, you want to fuck? And I'm like, oh my God, what is this doing on the official work server? That feels horrendously incorrect. And I have issues with it. But it's still the kind of thing where it's like at the end of the day, it's like I just checked. I think I'm the only person on the Western Hemisphere that is in this group, but it's just like, hey, if someone went to the thing to work it and it's officially work sanctioned, I guess it's okay. I will say it did kind of feelings about joining it, or at least being a little bit more open about it, at least so far. So that's been at least helpful in that regard.
I cannot help my curiosity in this regard. You just said you're the only person in the Western Hemisphere in it, and then you said you're an international company. So is it like a mostly Asian channel?
Yes, it is almost entirely Asian. There are the occasional things that show up in English if there is text or dialogue, but sometimes there is not. And it is just largely like again random pulls from the internet every single day. I do not know how this bot works. It is absolutely fascinating. But it has been one of the more curious delights for this place that I've worked with. I've worked in corporate America for almost a decade at this point, and I've never had anything like this on any level or capacity. There's been LGBT groups, there's been POC groups, there's been a lot of like wonderful places to join and a lot of organizations. Never anything like this. This is not even like a formal organization. It's just a bot. But I'm like, all right, cool. I will join this multi-hundred person strong group, and whatever happens, happens. It's that weird sense of boldness that kind of is associated with it.
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Huh.
yeah. Don't mind me and my ramblings about the
No,
strange
no,
things that are
I'm
going
just
on.
didn't know. Like, I'm just still getting over the fact of like just one day it's just gonna pull something crazy,
Oh.
like just playing roulette at that point. Or like some
I,
one other person might pop in there and be like, "Hello."
I'll be
Frankly,
honest.
frankly, shocked you haven't mentioned any YIF coming through on the bot.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah,
I mean,
nothing is so good at filtering that you wouldn't get some at some point.
yeah.
have I scrolled far back enough to know? I have. I have not. I have not at this point. It is fully possible. I would be shocked to my core if that was somehow came through. But we will. We will see. The future is a unknown and mysterious and beautiful thing. So, um, with that said, and this is probably something that I've just been so genuinely curious about, and I asked you this question once on a live, and it's the thing where I think at the time you had even said that that's probably not the appropriate time to speak about it. I will say, as much as we are doing a live recording, we can cut any part of this as needed whatsoever
Yeah.
afterwards. But you have a wife, you have 2 incredible children as well. I'm just curious because I have known a couple people who have been raising families or themselves and very much sometimes keep their furriness like a secret, or it's like something that is not something that they talk about like publicly, either with their children or with their spouses or partners or whatnot. I'm just so curious for you, what is that like? I'm sure at this point it might just be every day and it's not even a matter, but like does because for the record, for anyone who doesn't know about Nyavarr streams, he has a wonderful streaming schedule. There's a whole lot of wonderful people that stop by, and of course, every single weekend, you do a streaming with your partner as well.
When she's
And
available, yeah.
which is available, absolutely, yes. So I take it the kids are fully aware of it. Do they have thoughts on it? Was there any like I had to introduce them to it? I'm just kind of curious where that lines up with being a public furry and also being a family person as well.
So it's no secret.
Yeah.
First off, it's absolutely no secret. Certainly
Mhm.
my wife knows. And
I hope so.
it would be wild at this point if she did not.
Yeah.
Um,
Honey, there's a podcast coming out. You really should listen to it. There's a lot of
Yeah,
valuable
just
stuff in it.
check it
Yeah.
out.
Hmm.
but I think my eldest daughter is, I'm gonna say 11.
Okay.
I think we're rounding, but we're gonna say 11. And
Sure.
she knows the term furry, and it has been used as an insult directed at her at school. And
Mm.
I believe she knows that I'm a furry. And certainly my younger daughter, who is 6, has seen my avatar, and like if it shows up on my phone or something, she'll go, "That's Dad,"
Oh.
which is adorable.
Yeah. Okay. Being called an insult in the Lord's year 2025, using that as an insult is wild to me. But then again, I am not on the ground as to how kids are filtering or dealing with that. But
Well,
okay, so
as I haven't made it a secret, I live in Ohio, and Ohio's still a pretty conservative state. I mean,
mhm.
it was purple, it's moving towards red, which is sad. But furry there was coupled also with lesbian as an insult.
Okay.
Yeah, so not awesome. Um,
Yeah.
so
Profoundly not awesome. Yeah.
we've had a lot of conversations with our daughter
Hmm.
at this point, just because of that happening.
Yeah.
That
But sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that maybe she wouldn't have heard until later.
Well, still though, the fact that you're still open about it, the fact that it's so normalized, and the fact that when a photo comes up of you on the phone that they are excited and you can identify that, like that's still incredible and lovely. It's just it's also just so heartening to hear because again, having heard stories from other people where it's just like I have to keep it a secret or like I don't actually want my kids to know. It's just like no, just live out loud, be your best self, and like everything else joyful will follow. And so I think that's really really cool. So I thank you for walking me through that. I very much appreciate it.
Yeah.
And most importantly, as you have gone on this journey too of identifying things of what to do with streaming and kind of like what is, furry content to this day, I still hate using the word content ultimately at the end of the day. Like I know it's kind of what we all do. We post videos and whatnot, but it's just I feel like it is sometimes at least some slightly more impactful than that, unless I do a 2 hour video of like me reacting to furry memes. That feels like content, and I will not be doing that. There was
Or
a
the
while ago.
Patreon.
Yeah, that's for
I want
Patreon
to see
members
that.
only.
Yeah, right?
Coming soon. No, coming never. You've been doing things as recently as like reading. I think it was ASMR readings of books like Dracula, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh.
Dracula wasn't an ASMR reading. Dracula is just a straight up audiobook. But
Okay.
I did do an ASMR reading of mostly short stories, and that was
Okay.
like a reward for hitting a goal during one of my streams. And
Hmm.
that was back when I was the maid.
Yes, you got it. And how were those received? I think is probably the better question.
I think positively. My community, it wasn't what my community came to me for. So it was an
Hmm.
interesting little side quest, but
Hmm.
it's not something someone would come back to me for, right? But it was received positively. People enjoyed it, but they wouldn't want that as like my everyday content. And I'm
Hmm.
still sort of trying to find out what my everyday content should be that will garnish an audience.
You seem to have found a pretty happy medium, I will say, so far. At least that's from my perspective. I mean, admittedly, I am a very large fan and friend first and foremost, but at the same time, it's like you you have such an inviting nature into the streams that you do. Like sometimes you'll have friends over, but for the most part, it's like you are very much the star of the show, but also you just kind of make sure that everyone at least feels heard and at least feels safe in that environment too. And I think it's actually uh, quite lovely so far, I must say, even as you grow and experiment with different types and formats along the way. So yeah,
I'm glad to hear that's working.
yeah.
It's one of those things that I don't have a lot of visibility into whether or not it works, whether or not people feel welcome and safe.
Yeah. I am getting to the point now where it's like I've done a couple streams now and it's like I used to feel pretty comfortable and used to be pretty in check with everything just because I always knew at the same time, like every single person in this live I've chatted with, every single person in this live I have a DM with, I know a little bit about them. Like I felt pretty comfortable. Like it's just chatting with friends or whatnot. And then it gets to the point where it's just like, oh, I don't know these people. Now to the point where like there's people coming in that are coming in regularly and like I have no idea anything about them and they're still commenting and saying hi. And a stranger is a friend you haven't met. There's never been a problem with meeting someone random on the internet, but it's just like I'm in this phase where I'm kind of negotiating with like, are these fans? Are these genuine fans of me? And it's just kind of a weird. I'm still not over it as I record this. Like I'm still trying to figure out like what that means to me and how to navigate that. But the VR-ness of it all has certainly kind of, I feel like, escalated fandom to a degree that is, well, I'm still trying to negotiate myself.
You said the VRness?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the VRness has played a huge role in the fandom recently, for sure.
Mm-hmm. It's because, well, I feel like too, because people just get very attracted or get very latched on to this very cartoony, lovely, like character so much faster than I'm not sure if they would otherwise, but I just feel like it's just the connection is that much more intense directly. Or at least that's at least been in my experience in seeing it.
I'm going to make a wild guess, and
Oh
I'm going to
God.
say that they let their guard, that like, especially people who didn't identify as furries, let their guard down because it's a video game. They don't see someone like putting on a huge costume and going like, oh, that's weird. It's a video game. Of course they are in some strange avatar. And then they're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
actually furries are kind of okay. I think it's become sort of a new gateway drug into the furry fandom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Punk, as someone who has experimented with both VR and most recently much more live action, but still character-based work as well, has that
Hmm.
been your experience at all?
Um, kind of. It's a mixed bag.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do agree that the VR definitely has kind of like, made it a
Lower
bit
the
more
bar of
popular.
entry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because I know I do a lot of like I stream on TikTok, so I do a lot of co-hosting like with random strangers, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't really tend to run into other VTubers or furries on TikTok. It's all just random strangers, and I do get a lot of like, oh, this is really cool. I've never seen this before. Like, tell me about it. Like, oh my God, this must be expensive. Like, just blown away by it. And I'm like, I guess you haven't been on this side of TikTok before, which is mind blowing to me.
Uh-huh.
Um, but again, then I get, the typical like, oh, you're weird, grown ass man. You're playing a
Mm-hmm.
video game for kids. Like, it's kind of, I mean, you get that in VR chat too. It's like you can't escape it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of a mixed bag. And same with the real life stuff. With when I do the doctor, I get a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people like, oh, I love the mask. It's so cool. I love the whole vibe you're bringing. And then again, you get the people being like, oh, this is scary. This is cringe. Or you're a furry. Furries are like, it's it's hit and miss, and you can only kind of like roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like to kind of, you know, make fun of myself a little bit to kind of bring their guard down.
Mm-hmm.
They would be like, "Oh, you must be a cringe ass furry." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm typically cringe on the weekends, and just make a joke out of it." And typically they're like, "Ah, you're cool. Like, you're not defensive about it." And then they eventually, a week later, they're like rocking a furry avatar or something. Uh, it's
Have you
crazy.
actually seen that? Have you seen that, the full hater to
I've
fan pipeline for you specifically?
kinda, in a way,
Okay.
it wasn't like crazy, like not like speed running, but I've come across someone who's like, been making jokes, and then I'll see them pop into my stream like over the course of a few weeks, just keep coming back and asking more questions and stuff. And then eventually they're like, hey, I'm thinking about making an OC now because I really liked yours. And it's just like a part of me, a part of me wants to be like, so now who's cringy? But
That bitter part of you wants to do that,
yeah,
yeah.
but then I'm just like, no, congrats, dude. Like, see, it's cool. You meet good people. It's not that bad. Every
Mhm.
fandom's cringy in its own way. Every person
God.
can be cringy, fandom or not. It's just
Hmm.
human life. We're all on this rock flying through space. We have to do something to entertain ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And for me, it's putting on a VR costume. That's what I'm going to tell you that right now. Absolutely, for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. Wait till you get a fursuit, and then you can do both.
I swear to God, I'm not getting a fursuit. For the love of God, everyone says I am, and I don't want to. My husband is also
Never
looking at me right now.
Never.
I don't personally feel the need for it at this time. That is what I will say about that. Listen, Punk, if we're still recording this podcast a year from now and I have a partial suit, I will give you $100. That is how confident I am about it. This either might be the easiest money, but my husband off camera is sneering at me right now, knowing that I'm about to lose $100, which is not true.
Yes. But okay, does it count? What if someone made you a fursuit? Does that count?
I hate this hypothetical. If someone just made it for me, I would have no choice but to accept. I don't see a scenario where that's happening, knowing how expensive they are.
Do I get $50 at least? Because it's half the bet.
Okay. Okay, if someone does that for me, yes, I will give you $50. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay, I'll make a few calls.
Okay. Yes, please pull in all the favors you can. Let's find a way.
It would be hilarious if he commissioned a fursuit for you just to win $50.
I dropped like 800 just for 50. The returning investment would be awful.
The worst ROI, but the best payoff out of all time in history. Exactly. It is the. I'll just be fully candid with you, just full mask off. It is the kind of thing where, in my heart, I'm fairly confident that's not going to happen. However, every effing thing that has happened to me in this fandom has been because someone has called it out first, and then it comes true. It's just don't worry, you're going to call yourself a furry. Nope, it happened. I was don't worry, you're going to have a Sona. I don't think I'm at that level. It happened. Oh, don't worry, you're not going to go to MFF. And then, god damn it, that is happening. It is just the thing where it's people point these things out to me, and so a lot of people have said that, and that is so concerning to me. But at this time, I will say I will eat my fuzzy shoe if that is in fact the case. But that is we'll get to that. We'll figure that out as it happens. Most critically, Mr. Wonderful Nyavarr, the Fennec Fox that is beloved and is the variety streamer of my heart. You've had an incredible journey in this fandom, from the Pokésona to someone who has developed this true life Sona to this VR, very gradual community that you're building up that is lovely and incredible. Do you have any other goals that you want to hit or achieve after this? Or are there things that you're still wanting to do as a vaguely public figure? Or I'm just kind of curious, do you have anything that is on the horizon that you're looking to immediately do in this community? Or is it just of riding the wave as you have all the way through?
I mean, putting streamer bussy aside, I consider myself an aspiring voice actor.
Mm.
And so
I can see that.
I am working towards that. And it's because people keep telling me I should. It's one of those things should I? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, okay, it sounds fun. So I am working towards that. I did finally get a role in something. I got 3 roles in a little unpaid fan project to dub Pokemon Legends ZA.
Yes!
Nice.
So I'm really excited about that. I'm coupled with a bunch of other VTubers. I'm not sure how many of them know I'm a furry, but that'll be a fun conversation for later.
Yeah, I think you and Mr. Beast are going to get along great. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Mr. Beast? What?
That's a VTuber, right? Right? Oh, no? Okay. All right.
I think it's debated. I think some people consider him a VTuber for reasons I don't fully understand.
Right. I know he has a gaming channel, but that is as far as I know is the Mr. Beast lore. And that's as far as I want to know, quite frankly.
Fair enough.
Punk, this is funny because Punk has also is it a French program called Belfort and Lupin, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, Belfort and Lupin. Me and a friend, Wolfie, we're the unofficial English voice actors for the show. So we just been kind of doing dubs of these episodes and uploading them and been getting a little bit noticed. Just because something they can't get the rights. They have to like send the show to America. Someone's got to buy them to officially dub them. So it's this whole thing, and me and Wolfie just been kind of like, oh, we like this show, and he does a fantastic Lupin. It's scary how good it's like 1-to-1, and I'm over here kind of doing an okay Belfort, but everyone says I sound like Stolas still. So that's my curse.
The Stolas curse.
The Stolas curse.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been fun to do, and it gives me practice because matching lip flaps and dialogue and mixing audio, and it's very fun.
A shocking amount of technical aspects to it.
It really is, and I had to learn, but it's again good practice. Working with another person, sharing lines and doing the whole thing, and doing it just from home. Like, we don't go to a studio. We just have our mics and we just record the lines.
Blue Yeti mics.
Yeah, yeah. So.
Yeah. And I'll give credit to you, Punk, for everything in the world, because when I first saw you, I know like there was, I think, a lot of people that were there for your Stola streams and for your Belfort and Lupin dubs, and you were also streaming as well. Like, you have migrated over different characters, different personalities. You are now a streaming live action Plague Doctor that has an incredible community that is built up around him as well. Like, it is. I think the thing that is incredible about this fandom is its level of adaptability that it's had over years, not just across technology platforms and websites, but just in terms of what the content is or what it fills. And like, between seeing your evolution and low-key Nyavarr, seeing your early videos for your early TikTok videos from early 2024 to now, and just how you've grown and changed and matched up to the challenges and the trends and everything, it's been really, really cool to see both of y'all's evolution in the extremely short time that I've been here. So I think it is incredible to see, and most critically, I thank you so much for being here, Nyavarr. But there is one last thing that we have to do, which is, if you're up for it, and just truly let me know, are you ready for a quick speed round of questions?
Sure, hit me.
All right, good. All right, let's strap in. Here we go. All right, very quickly, VRC or Resonite?
VRC. Is that really a question?
It was not. It was a gimme. It was a gimme out the gate. It's okay. Paws or Maws?
It depends what they do.
Perfect. Great Wolf Lodge or Six Flags?
I haven't been to Six Flags since I was a child, but I have been to Great Wolf Lodge many, many times since I have got children. Yes. We have one right up in Sandusky, Ohio. It's not that far of a drive. It's it's part of the day, and they love to do it as like their birthday. Instead of having like presents or a party, they want to go to Great Wolf Lodge.
Hell yeah. And correct me if I'm saying this correctly or not. Hellion Tea or Puffy?
Puffy. Hellion Tea is something that they're a royalty-free music that I used to use as the background audio for my streams. That's why they're so popular. If you're talking about my last FM.
Yeah, I was going deep. Yes. Stardew Valley or Traveler's Rest?
Ooh. Right now it's Stardew Valley, but it will be Traveler's Rest. Traveler's Rest
really?
has that sad thing where it's still in development. It's still in early access, and the story's not there yet. But I think it's going to be a deeper and better game than Stardew.
How long did you play Stardew for? Just out of curiosity.
A while, yeah, over a year. Like, okay, I want to find the category and be like, when was the first video in this series published? View full playlist. Yeah. Part 1 was published 2 years ago, August 13th, 2023. Kay and I started our stream of Stardew Valley.
Awesome. And maybe the hardest question of all, and I'm so sorry to do this to you, but I'm very specifically saying across all generations, what is the best Pokemon starter?
Best starter? Interesting. I'm going to go with Eevee.
Ooh, didn't even blink for a second, chat. He just went right for it. Incredible.
It,
Uh,
it's
it,
it's got all the starter powers in one because you can evolve it to water, fire, electric, so many
That's
type
true.
options.
yeah. Well, that is all that I had for you. I was almost going to ask you what the lyrics to the Meow song meant, but I decided against it at the last possible second. Uh, but most critically, Yavar, I appreciate you so much for being here for us. The last thing Punk and I need to do, just as a technical matter, is we need to go over the list and determine whether or not you are a Popufur and if you can hang with us, which is the real question here. So, Punk, let's just sidebar real quick. Let's just see.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think growing following, multi-platform,
Discord
has a
server?
Discord server. Yes, lovely Discord
Okay, okay.
server. And streamer Bussy, which is I think that
Ah,
can't be ignored. Can't be
I
ignored.
feel like that's like I feel like that's like an energy drink or something. Like, yo, get your stream of bussy right now. Like in five fantastic flavors.
It, yes, I think that's it, entirely possible. Uh, I I think he can hang with us. I think
I
that's the
think so.
final resolution. I think that is fantastic. Uh,
Hooray!
Yavar, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I genuinely appreciate it.
It's been my absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And most importantly, I think we can go ahead and truly embrace the cringe and do the last thing that we always do, which is as we sign off, I think you could probably join us in at the same time saying the name of the podcast, which is I'm
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 definitely
definitely
not
definitely
a
not
not
a
popular.
popular. You know
a
what? That was I
poppy.
think that was the best. Damn it, Puck. I thought that was the best one that we had going for it.
Sorry.
It's okay. One day, 1 year. If
One
anyone
year.
ha 1 year.
Decade.
If you were following us on YouTube, that would be fantastic. If you throw us any likes or anything else wherever you're streaming this podcast, it's always appreciated. Thank you so much, everybody. We will talk to you next time. Take care. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.